World Order Commitment Edition special. It is Sunday night. We just got a 4-star commit from Aaron Scott Jr. We're going to break down the video, break down his film. It was entertaining. This was a funny recruitment, but if you are on Buckeye Scoop, Nevada and I really had no anxiety about this one. I'm surprised anybody did. His dad's a huge Ohio State fan. It's his dad's birthday. It was his dad's birthday party. So unless he's going to jackknife powerbomb him and put on the Michigan hat, I did not see that coming. So he is now a Buckeye. He joins Bryce West to form a pretty dynamic duo on the outside corner position. So we are going to break that down. But first, as always, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we appreciate you guys. We are very grateful for you guys. We are racing to 25,000 subs. So click that like button, click subscribe, and click that little dinner bell, and you'll get an alert every time we go live. We love kicking it with you guys, so thank you guys for tuning in, as always. But first, bringing my good friend Nevada. Nevada, the anxiety is over. Aaron Scott is a Buckeye. Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. Look, these are ones that after you've been doing this for a long time, there's not a lot of drama on this. He wanted there to be drama. Ohio State didn't want to kill the moment for the kid. When you see this thing happening, you don't want to just jump all over it. But I was just laughing when I heard that some other sites had done, videos in case he went to Michigan or videos in case he went to Oregon. And I'm like, man, how dumb can you be? Like, why don't you just admit that you don't have any clue what's going on with the commitment doing that? We didn't do any other videos. This is the only one and only video that we're doing. We were going to be here no matter what. But this I thought this was it was dramatic, but not dramatic. But the video was funny. The announcement was funny. Everything about it was funny. And but I mean, let's take a step back from the Wayback Machine. We've been hearing a lot of complaints about defensive staff recruiting. The defense, Knowles is sleeping when the recruits are there, and he doesn't have their phone number, and he won't call them back. And when they come, he insults them and calls them the wrong name. Well, in the last 30 days, we've landed Bryce West, Justin Scott, Miles Lockhart, and Aaron Scott. That's a pretty good run. That would be a good run for at any point in time. But man, we're still on the defensive staff. So I suggest a 1-day moratorium on the defensive staff cannot recruit stuff because they're recruited at a really high level. And as you said, getting Bryce West and Aaron Scott out of Ohio as cornerbacks might be as good a pair of cornerbacks as we've had come out of the state in the same year in a long time. Can you think of a better one?
I can't. I think this has been fantastic. He's like a super lanky, super athletic, twitched up dude. I mean, he's exactly what a corner. But let's break down the real star of the show in this episode. This was my favorite part of the video. This was even better than him committing. Is that mom, hit the smoke machine. Mom, smoke. Oh, look at that. They had the smoke machine going. I was like, okay. And the hard part with the smoke machine is like, do you keep it going the whole time? Does it fill a room up with smoke? And then the video, you can't see it on IG. But mom, he's like, mom, when I give you the signal, hit the smoke machine. Okay, right here. Smoke, mom's like, okay, I'll flick the switch, smoke coming out. Like I was like, that's amazing. He's like sitting there, at his dad's party, smoke machine running. I think he turned it off. I mean, Oregon, this is like, I always wondered if these kids, do they keep their receipts for this stuff? I mean, they probably ordered it from Fanatics or some online website. If you guys like Fanatics, we have a link on our site where we get a little bit of money from your Fanatics orders. There's a little plug. But do they send it back, do you think? Like, what do you do with an Oregon hat and an Oregon book bag after you throw it on the ground like this, and then you get it down to the Michigan stuff, the Ohio State stuff? I do like the shades, though. It is inside. He had to match Pops on his birthday, so they got the shades on with the smoke going. See, here's a little bit. You see a little bit of that smoke come drifting in. Like you're at Disney World on the haunted house ride. The smoke's coming through, but then he does the pump fake, takes the Ohio State stuff. He's not going to put it on first because he bought the Michigan stuff. He bought the Michigan hat, bought the Michigan book bag, so he's got to put that over here on the chair. Then he's got to hold on now. Everybody's thinking it's Michigan. It's like, no, it's not going to be Michigan. Not on Dad's birthday. He is not going to pick him up and jackknife powerbomb him and spray a big M like the NWO. He's not doing that. He's going to Ohio State. We know this. No other videos need to be filmed. And he puts the Ohio State jersey in the Michigan bag. This was great. What did you think of this when you were watching this?
I mean, that was great. I mean, that was one of the all time great ones. Now, again, it's one of those ones where if he had picked the other school, or this was the one where they picked the Ohio State bag and they pull out the Michigan jersey, then you instantly hate him. You instantly hate him. You say that
Yes.
this is Bush League. How can the kids do this? This is embarrassing. There's not. Instead, it's like this is the greatest thing ever. I mean, it's kind of like when we got the double birds going off the field after the ejection at the Michigan game. Normally that would be, wow, boy, this obscene gesture. That's bad. But because an Ohio State player did it, it was great and it was awesome. And so everything about this Instagram video live was the greatest video in the history of Instagram. And yeah, like I said, I declare this a national holiday. Scott commitment day. And the fact that he trolled Michigan, on this Sunday, we got their hopes up. I mean, all their commitments were all happy. All the players were happy. They're all, oh, Harbaugh, we've got a winning streak against Ohio State. We're going to get all the recruits. And they didn't get anybody. They didn't get anybody. They broke their hearts again. And order has been restored. I like it when the universe makes sense. The universe didn't make any sense when he tossed away the Ohio State backpack. I wasn't buying it. Honestly, I got to be
Uh-huh.
honest with you, I wasn't buying it. I was still sticking with the Buckeyes, and he redeemed himself. So God bless him. Great kid, instant hero to the Ohio State fans, and I'm glad he didn't jackknife powerbomb dad through the table on his birthday. That would have been disappointing.
But I just love mom. He's like, Mom, can you get that smoke? And she reaches down. She's like, okay, I got the smoke. Okay, now we can
Now,
go.
don't you
We got the
wish mom
smoke.
don't you wish mom had the sunglasses on too though? That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. She didn't get the memo, I guess, or she left him in the car. She's probably all disappointed now because, like,
Can you
obviously
draw
they
the?
got the
Can you
smoke
draw?
one.
Can
So
you
if you
draw
go
sunglasses on her
like
right now? Draw sunglasses.
here,
Yes.
here, there we go. She's got like the Ultimate Warrior sunglasses on, so we get the little sunglasses going. There we go. Now we're
Yeah.
now we're
Oh,
now we're going. But I just love like her face where she has to click the smoke out. That's the best part of the whole video. But no, this was he honestly this was up there with like the Ten Commandments and Oppenheimer. Like this is probably going to beat Oppenheimer at the box office this weekend. So he is not just a great Buckeye, but maybe the greatest person ever for doing this commitment. He did it at 6:30 on his dad's birthday. So the best part is he didn't have to buy his dad a gift because he's like, you know what? What should I get Pops? Oh shoot, I gotta commit. I might as well just commit on his birthday because then I can save myself $50 or whatever. Get him, instead of getting him something, a gift card, just commit. I mean, I think that's genius. Like, I mean, the whole thing around, you can tell the kid's a genius by doing something like that. Obviously, his dad and mom are thrilled because it's like a 1 hour drive from Dayton, so that's huge. All around, just a fantastic kid. I'm gonna get his highlights going so we can actually watch some football. But the video
no,
was
no, but
hilarious.
yeah, but
What's up?
but you think about it in the age of NIL, man, it's about marketing yourself, and it's about going out there in
Oh
terms of doing it.
yeah.
And before it used to just be, hey, who was the bigger clown or who was doing this there was no real reason to do it. Right now, you've got a financial reason. I mean, he had 7,000 plus people on his Instagram stream watching his commitment. I don't know what the final numbers were. Um, but it was great. And the fact that he was able to trash the entire state of Michigan in one fell swoop, it's like you felt it was like remember doing when Alderaan got blown up in Star Wars or something like that, and
Yes, that's
Princess Leia.
exactly how I
Yeah,
felt. That's how I felt.
it was like a yeah, it was like a crying out. It's like all these voices were
Like,
just
oh,
silenced at once. Yeah. Oh, I feel a disturbance. It was exactly
uh,
like that. And you felt him just rip the heart out of the state of Michigan in one thing, and it was beautiful, man. I personally teared up when I watched this, and this will always be remembered as one of the greatest days of my life. My kids, my marriage, and the day that he ripped Michigan's heart out.
did you when he put the Ohio State bag back behind? Did you like drop your sandwich on the ground? No, and then he
No,
reached for the
I
Michigan
knew.
bag. You knew,
Dude, I knew. I
you knew.
knew. I knew. I knew. I knew to the very end. I knew it was going to be a double pump troll job, and so no, I have to admit, was never fooled, not for a second.
Really, man. I was like, oh my god, if he puts on the Michigan stuff, and then I'm telling you, I was thinking Michigan stuff, and then has to jackknife powerbomb his dad through the table and spray the M on him while he like lays there, like like Randy Savage when they announced Hulk Hogan as the third NWO member, and his leg dropped him twice at the bash at the beach. Like, I mean, it had to be a moment like that. But this is a kid, I mean, we're on a nice run right here, and we got a couple. KJ Bolden's coming up, man. I mean, it could be a huge, huge, huge couple of weeks for Ohio State. Edric Houston's coming up, so I think it's going to be a nice little run for the Bucks. The chat is nice and full. Appreciate you guys being in here. I do love the Alderaan reference. I can feel like the laser beams warming up in Michigan right now. I'm sure people are very sad and disturbed, but yeah, I think that the momentum is palpable, though. I say, and again, I think you have to do kind of silly stuff because, if you're just a kid like Miles Lockhart, I mean, great kid, but I mean, he did it the way I would have done it. He just committed one visit, didn't wear like 7 different teams on his body, didn't have like one Michigan glove and one Oregon glove and like an arm sleeve and a Georgia headband and and like Alabama shoes on or something. Like, I mean, he literally just committed. And I think that when there's this palpable excitement about it, then all of a sudden, people they get into it more. But yeah, it's weird. What do you think about the recruiting industry right now? Because I mean, like I think he might have had some crystal balls, but I mean, the crystal balls have been just like way off this year. It's almost been crazy. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's just nice when you have one, and yeah, the recruiting business is tough right now. Things are all over the board. And again, I don't want to be the old guy that repeats himself, but the other place that was recording videos in case he went to other things has got to be the funniest thing that I've ever seen. I'm just like, I can't even imagine. Okay, Kirk, we're gonna do this one. Can you be super sad right now? It's like, oh, okay, Nevada, I'm really sad that he went to Oregon. And so he's playing for the Ducks. Just, I mean, like, what the heck are you doing, man? It's like, come on, guys, be better, man. I don't want to bag on other sites, but you guys got to be better than that. That's just horrible. But no, this one's a nice one. It fell into place, and Ohio State's on a nice run right now. They've got, look, they're not going to get everybody, but they're going to get more than their share. And when the dust settles, I'm still going with highest regarded class of all time. And if it's not the highest regarded class, it's going to be, millimeters away from being one of the best recruiting classes of all time. So just sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, and just know the Buckeyes are going to be there right to the very end of any national championship discussion. And I personally think we're going to be right there at the end of this year. I think this team is way better than people expect. And I think those are the years when you tend to win it, not when you expect to, like 2015. It's more of a 2014, 2002 type of thing. I think this team is really good top to bottom, and looking forward to an exciting year that starts in 5 days. Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, it is true that this does feel like a year where we could do it because this team will be, if they run the table or even if they just have a loss. Like, I mean, Virginia Tech year, we lost. We lost week 2, looked terrible. Quarterback was, obviously, you lose. I mean, that 14 team was the most resilient team in the history of college football. I mean, they lose Braxton, the best player, the Heisman favorite, and then they lose JT in the Michigan game after he has, a stellar silver football season as a freshman, and then they win the national championship. It was the craziest thing of all time. So, again, I mean, nobody in '02 picked Ohio State to win a national championship. Nobody picked them in 14 after Braxton got hurt. There's no way anybody thought Ohio State was going to be able to do anything. So it does feel that way. I mean, I think that the line is coming. The guys look great. They're in fantastic shape. A lot of buzz at the tackle position. Again, I think Kyle McCord's the guy. I mean, he's minus 500 on the betting odds. Tells me all I need to know. That's a monster number when there's a quote quarterback competition. But I think you have to start off with the older guy. In the world of transfers and transfer portal, I mean, guys transfer at the drop of a hat. I mean, guys will be transferring, during camp at some schools. So, but I'm excited to see what these guys can do. I mean, the skill is the best skill players we've ever had at Ohio State on any team, I think. I mean, when you look at if you combine our tight ends, receivers, and running backs, we've never had deeper rooms ever. Like, I mean, I can't remember when we've had five running backs who've started, who could start or have started games. I mean, it's absurd with Dallin, and I mean, obviously you have Trey as the bell cow, Mayan, Dallin. Evan Pryor's back, Chip, who started played a lot in the Michigan game. I mean, that's insane depth right now. Receivers, incredibly deep. Marvin, Emeka, top two receivers, bar none in the entire country. So everything's there, And honestly, I think that the O line is surprisingly deeper. It's not as high top end because you don't have a 6 overall pick at left tackle, but there's a lot of guys that can play in that room. So it's going to be interesting to see them battle it out in camp. So again, this is the kind of camp that I love because there's going to be a lot of competition at quarterback, a lot of competition on the O-line. And, again, if this team can survive and get through the weeks, again, like I remember watching the O2 season when I was a senior in high school and I was getting committed, like there were like 8 heart attack games that year where it was like the Penn State game where Gamble runs one back. There's that Cincinnati game where, I mean, could have lost easily, against Cincinnati down in Paul Brown in the Bengals stadium. I mean, it was hairy. That was a hairy year. But again, Illinois, I think Illinois was like a overtime game. I mean, Michigan was like a 1-score game. So it was a battle-hardened team. So they had to play Miami. I mean, God, they'd been through every scenario in the world, and most of them were tough wins, and they weren't blowouts, and the stats weren't pretty. But sometimes it's good to go through some tough games because I think that it makes your team figure out how to win those games. That's something about the O2 team is like they had some really tough guys, but I mean the statistics, especially offensively, weren't really pretty other than Maurice Clark's rushing record. But it was just a fun year. And I mean, when they beat Miami, and that was the most shocking win I think I've ever seen in college football. Just because, I mean, Miami was loaded. They had, guys that were, first rounders all over their roster, and we won. So it was good. What battles are you most excited about in Nevada?
Well, I think one thing that I'm looking for that we haven't spent a lot of time talking about this because I think we kind of accept this as kind of like a given, but I want to see JT and Jack Sawyer be JT and Jack Sawyer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see those guys dominate off the edge the way that we know / think they should have coming out of high school. Because last year, I mean, if we're really honest and we're taking off the rose-colored glasses and just being brutally honest about stuff, I thought Jack looked a little stiff. Now, maybe that's because he was playing out of position. Maybe he was playing the Jack position. Maybe whatever thing looked a little stiff to me. And JT, I know, they say he's got the best pass rush moves. He looked like he had one pass rush move last year, which was the bull rush. And it's the only one he seemed to trust. He didn't like to spin, certainly didn't like to spin inside, lest he get caught by some guard lurking and clean his clock. So I want to see those two guys because when you look at our defense, you look at our defensive issues that we had last year. We had lots of issues on the defensive side of the ball. But something that would cure a lot of it is an effective pass rush only bringing 4. And if you can do that and you can bring that pressure, that improves your third down conversions, that improves your turnovers, that makes your defensive backs look better, that improves your run game, it improves everything. So it's like, my big key for the defense this year and the big thing that I'm watching on the defense this year is can JT and Jack Sawyer be the guys we thought that they were and that we know that they can be, because I think that we'll only go as far as those guys do. We need them to be great. I think they can be great. I've seen them be great in practice. Can they be great on the field this season? That's the big question I have.
Yeah, I think they need to be turned loose. I think that they, the term they use is cage rush, which is basically, they have on certain defenses, for the front four, what are you allowed to do on a rush? And a lot of times they call these cage rushes where these guys are stuck bull rushing, and like it's just not effective, especially when that's the only thing that you're allowed to do a majority of the time. And that's something that, I think they got to turn these guys loose. They got to let these guys get creative. Because like I think some people don't understand that a lot of these rushes are called, and they're not just organic, spontaneous. Hey, what are you gonna do this time, Jack? I'm gonna go out and do a spin move. Oh, what are you gonna do, JT? Oh, I'm gonna do double scissor moves or whatever. Like, if it's if it's a known passing situation, a lot of times it's literally, hey, cage rush, which is like rush to the heels of the quarterback so he can't scramble, keep him in the pocket, and I mean, when you're worried about a guy with some mobility like JJ McCarthy, who ran and had some really critical scrambles against us, including a touchdown. I mean, you don't get to be as creative because you got to keep contained and you got to rush the outside edge, and and it sucks honestly. Like when these guys are like artists, and you say, okay, you get one color to paint with, basically, and you're just like, well, that sucks. It's kind of a waste of my, you get white paint on white paper essentially. So it'll be interesting to see what they do to get these guys going. I thought, again, I've railed on the jack position being just something that I don't think we're going to see at all this year because I don't think those guys were good running a 3-down front. We got gashed doing it, so I think that thing hopefully is dead forever. And frankly, like Jack Sawyer wasn't a good fit for that position. I think when they pitched it, it sounded great, but when the thing with football is you got to know who you are as a team and as a unit, and you got to get really good at the things that you want to do. You can't have 80 different things you do. You got to have about 15, 10. On offense, you don't need 700 different runs. You need like 15 runs that you can run left and right, and that's it. Maybe not even that many, maybe 10. And it's the same thing with calling defenses. Like you got to get really good at a few things, and that's it. You don't need to make, and that's not Jim Dill's. That's just football in general. That's just, we do on offense. When I played at Ohio State back in the Stone Age, we're running, off tackle, we're running ISO, in the olden days when we had a fullback on the field. And that was what we did, and you can't, because you have to, whatever you put in, you have to practice and rep. So you can't just like say, okay, we're going to have 80 plays. And how many hours of practice do we got? Oh, we only have 3 hour, or we have 3 2-hour practices a week. One isn't in pads. So, how many live reps are you going to get at these concepts versus how many different defensive looks or offensive looks if you're practicing defense? So, I think that, I honestly think that year 2 in the defense will result in huge growth just because these guys have been in the defense, and this isn't just pablum. It's just one of those deals where, they know, everything becomes more second nature when you've been in a system for longer, and now that you're up into year 2, you've got veterans at basically every position. I think it's going to be good. And I think that something that people don't seem to realize is that guys get better year over year. Like I was palpably better year over year when I was at Ohio State from my freshman year to sophomore year to junior year to senior. I got better every single year. And most guys do because you're still growing physically, you mature, you just get you get your little habits in your system, and as guys get older and more comfortable, they lock in. And for a lot of these guys, this is their last go round, or they want it to be their last go round. They're either seniors or they're draft eligible 3rd-year guys, and they want to have a big year. So I'm telling you, that's the thing. Guys start to lock in. They start to do the little things. They start to take care of themselves, start to eat better. I've heard that from a million of these guys on this team right now. And all that little stuff adds up to, I think, what's going to be a really good defense. I think the defense is going to really carry the team this year, which I think people think that's nuts, especially in modern football with Ryan Day's offense. But that defense is going to have to go win a road game. It's going to have to go win against Notre Dame. It's going to have to get a stop versus Wisconsin at night. In these tough environments, man, the 2 things you pack when you go on the road in a tough place are your running game and your defense. And that's just how it is. What are your thoughts on that, Nevada?
I think that whenever the defense plays well this year, that people will say, "Oh, that opponent sucks," or it's just the players have gotten better. I think that's my A and my B responses right there, and C will be that we give some credit to the defensive staff for actually doing a good job. Though I think the defense is going to be terrific this year. I've heard all the complaints. I've heard all the stuff. It was nice today, just for one day, to put the defensive staff recruiting sucks thing to bed just for 24 hours. I think this whole season it's going to be about killing these narratives, and I think the OSU defense is back. I think we're stacked across the board, and I know we've talked about them a lot, but he deserves talking about some more. Sonny Styles is going to be a key. I I think it's fair to criticize coaches when they have guys and then they don't use them. I think not using Styles last year was a mistake. I think they'd even get more out of him had they lived with whatever growing pains that they had last year. But the bottom line is last year's last year, this year's this year, and Sonny's going to see the field, and he's going to be a high impact guy. And I can't wait to see him because he's a terrific ball player. He's got the respect of all the other guys on the defense. The players know, and when you ask the players who are the guys, first name of their name out of their mouth is Sonny Styles. So that certainly gets my attention.
Yeah, and he's the guy that can impact the game a dozen different ways, you know. But his size and physicality and speed is something that we just don't see. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what player we've had that's been like him. I mean, because he looks like Sean Taylor. And that's what he. I mean, he's 6'4.5", and I mean, when you're that big and you're playing safety, oh my god. I mean, you're ready to clock people. But he covers ground. He's got great. I mean, he's tremendous at playing the football. But will he get too big to play safety next year? Like, I mean, I keep thinking him and CJ are going to be our two starting linebackers next year. Yeah, if Cody's back, then it's even better. Then you have Cody and CJ and Sonny playing all over the place. But it's going to be a big year. I'm really excited about it. Happy about the Scott commitment. Great job by the staff locking this one in. But yeah, it's been a really good Sunday. Any final thoughts, Nevada? Practice starts on Thursday. We'll have, I mean, the whole world's going to be watching. They're charging $30 to watch a non-padded practice, which is amazing. So you get to see guys run around and I guess do drills and do some team stuff, but you're not going to see any hitting at all, which is a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. Anything that you're expecting early in Camp Nevada as we wrap this thing up?
No, we're just going to be looking at those, line combinations that they come out with on the offensive line because that's going to tell us a lot about, who's on the depth chart. Have they moved, Tegra inside, or Tegra. I think they've made the decision. I've heard they've made the decision to move him to guard. We'll see if he plays any at tackle, but I think he's much more ideally, situated at guard. The center position is going to be interesting to watch. Evan Pryor. I've talked about Evan Pryor a lot. Want to see him on the field. Can't wait to see, Carnell Tate and Brandon Innes and what those guys can do. So, no, just so much excitement. It's been a great offseason for Ohio State. What you want, to say, what makes up a great offseason for Ohio State? Well, no really bad news, no really bad injuries, and a great recruiting season. And I think we've checked all three boxes right there. And, the Buckeye ship is getting ready to start leaving the dock and got a lot of momentum heading into fall camp. And that's that kind of stuff that you're looking for when you are looking for a great season. It's not bad news every other day. It's nothing but good news. And today was a really good day for Ohio State, and love stuff like this because I think there's more good news on the recruiting front to come. The Buckeye spaceship is getting ready to blast off, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I love it. So, well, perfect. Well, we're going to wrap this thing. Thank you guys, as always, for joining us. What a great day. Got a nice 4-star corner commitment in Aaron Scott Jr. Congrats to him and his family. Welcome to the Buckeye family. Again, I really didn't have a doubt. His dad's a huge Ohio State fan. I can't imagine committing to his most hated team on his birthday, but I also think that would have been absolutely hilarious. So that being said, as always, please, thank you guys for tuning in. Please leave us a like, click subscribe, and click the little dinner bell. Appreciate all of our regulars that are in here. Brass Tacks, what's up, my man? Mello, I see a lot of you guys. Appreciate you guys, your support, your great questions. Shout out where you guys are from. I want to see where you guys are watching from. I've seen unbelievable places all over the globe. So thank you. I always love reading that. It's really cool, and we appreciate your support. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. It is time for you guys to subscribe to BuckeyeScoop.com if you guys are not members, because our content is cranking right now, and it is awesome. Best community there is for Ohio State sports. Really active message board. The number one message board in the Ohio State sphere by far. Well regulated, nice and clean, excellent content. We have a blast on there. So we'd love for you guys to join our Buckeye Scoop family. Thank you. You guys have a great rest of your day. Go Bucks.